It's Ryan Seacrest here. People always say it's good to unwind, but that's easier said than done. The exception, Chumba Casino. They actually make it easier done than said, or at least the same. Chumba Casino is an online social casino with hundreds of casino-style games like slots and blackjack. Play for fun. Play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Sign up now and collect your free welcome bonus at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
In Louisiana, a homeowner turns the tables on a would-be robber. A treasure hunter's search for $500 million in Civil War gold leads to the FBI, and a Florida hotel clerk becomes a hero after rescuing 2 girls from sex trafficking. These stories and more coming at you today, Wednesday, August 16th on Real Life Real Crime Daily, and I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino. Good morning, guys.
What's up? What's up? Doing it again. Crime time. We
are doing it again.
Look, and I do want to mention, just real quick, attended I don't know if you'd call it a rally or just like a deal for governor for the state of Louisiana, and his platform was crime, which was nice to see, considering we are Real Life Real Crime Daily, and without getting political.
Right.
It was nice to see that as a main platform piece along with infrastructure and education. So
cool deal. I want to do this, and I'm very remiss because I didn't have service enough to check the national news and everything this weekend. Holy smokes, the people in Maui.
Oh.
And I was there a year and a half ago, right there on that street in that tree park, and with Shane McBride and them, and it's heart-wrenching. And they're saying maybe up to 1,000 dead that are still missing.
Yeah, they're like 1,300 still missing. Hopefully they're not going to get to those kind of numbers,
right.
But they're certainly, the number's going to keep going up. But one of the things that when you live in the eastern part of the U.S. that you don't realize when you move to the west is how different the dangers are. Like
right.
you don't have hurricanes.
Right.
But you have all these things that you don't think about when you move there. Like mudslides aren't a consideration,
right.
And earthquakes certainly are because you're aware of them. But wildfires is a big one,
right.
And this, we've all heard of Santa Ana winds, but
right.
don't really understand what they are and how fast they come sweeping through these mountain ranges and how fast fire can spread. This fire in Maui at one point was spreading a mile a minute. So
crazy.
When you think about the fact that they, for whatever reason, the alarm system didn't work. These people
right.
had no warning until it was apparent, and then they had nowhere to go but
right.
go to the water.
It's heart-wrenching. And, it's like us on the hurricanes, and I know people, it's like a migraine. Everybody knows what one is, but until you experience it, I'm talking about natural disasters, it's just a whole different thing, right?
And when you're scared and you're wondering whether you're in the line of it. Like we had a fire at Universal Studios 15 years ago or so, and I still had a wood shake roof on my house.
Yeah.
And the embers from that fire were floating right over my neighborhood. And so an ember would fall on a dry wood shake roof, and so you had to sit there on different ladders, all of us spraying the roof for hours, just wetting it down constantly until they got the fire out to make sure the embers don't get, because that's how a lot of the spread happens with those winds, is the embers get carried, they land on roofs, and the fires get ignited in separate areas. And it's
prayers for
crazy.
all of them and anybody that's still missing and their families and loved ones that are worried about them. We want y'all to know we do care about you, and I'm sorry we hadn't put it out, that all across social media, but we will. And prayers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get into some crime.
Let's lay down the crime time, Jim Chapman.
Look, before we get completely started, I do want to mention a retraction. Usually Mike does these retractions because he's the one
You're not sanctioned for a retraction.
makes all the mistakes. But In this situation, it was I who mispronounced the word. I said spinal bifida, I believe. Is that how it's
I thought you
Bifida.
said. I thought you said spina bifida, but
Spinal bifida.
Well, I think I said spinal. This is just, but either way, Jennifer Gatlin, one of our biggest fans, and we just love Jennifer Gatlin, brought it to my attention that it is spina.
she was sitting with her notepad
bifida.
while she was listening. She was scribbling down.
So
What did Mike do wrong to that?
So she corrected that pronunciation, and she actually said it can be as light as only affecting your walk to as severe as leaving you in a wheelchair like it has me. So thank you for that correction, Miss Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And we do appreciate and love you.
Yep.
Mike does too. He just pretends like he
A
doesn't.
little bit.
So we're going to get into some crime time, and we're going to Hammond, Louisiana. Woody's old stomping ground. That's right.
Became a cop.
It's where he became a cop. He used to arrest college drunks.
That's right.
Drunk and disorderly.
I had 5 arrests, and it was like May. And they called me and they said I had to go to interpersonal communication school because I was too rough on people. The next officer behind me had like 1 arrest for the year. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
You're too rough on people, or you're actually working?
No, I mean, I was like, I didn't take any shit, right?
Right.
But anyway, I transferred to Livingston immediately thereafter. So,
well, we're going to bring you to Hammond, Louisiana, home of Southeastern Louisiana University, and we're going to tell you kind of a feel-good story almost, because the tables got turned on a home invasion suspect. The Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's Office announced the arrest of a 23-year-old by the name of Samuel Leal of Hammond after he forced entry into a residence and subsequently got shot by the owner.
good for him.
In the early morning hours of August 9th, 2023, Leal forced his way through the window of a mobile home. Once inside that home, he assaulted a guest in the residence and threatened to kill the victim and her family. During the altercation, the homeowner shot Leal, striking him in the leg just above the knee. At some point during the incident, he removed all of his clothing and fled the residence.
Really?
Yeah, he decided that was a good time to get naked.
Strip down after you got shot.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to put a tourniquet on when he was naked.
Yeah, he pulled his panties off and everything. That sucker was, I don't know what the heck he was thinking, but he proceeded to shatter the window of a nearby vehicle and attempted to barricade himself in that vehicle.
How'd that work out for him?
Until the arrival of deputies, at which time he was physically removed from that vehicle. I bet he was. Leal was transported to a nearby hospital where he was treated for non-life-threatening injuries resulting from the gunshot wound and lacerations sustained from the broken glass. And he was booked into jail where he was charged with home invasion, second-degree battery, vehicle burglary, and resisting arrest. Upon being interviewed, Leal admitted to consuming illegal narcotics. So that explains getting naked, right? Prior to committing the home invasion, the homeowner and guest did not sustain injuries requiring immediate medical attention and refused all medical aid on the scene. So, good for them.
Good for them.
Protecting their property.
That's right.
Love it.
That's right. I bet he won't climb to that window.
Yeah.
To that door.
Give him a striptease in the meantime.
The naked part of that is still.
Yeah. So I always said law enforcement was the greatest show on earth, and it is. So I'm going to take y'all out to old Georgia, good old Georgia, in Lake Lanier.
Lovely.
Isn't it beautiful, right? That's some of the best bass fishing in the world. But this is a story that I am sanctioned to tell. A young girl swimming at Lake Lanier was attacked by a, wait for it,
Walrus? Elephant seal?
beaver on Saturday, according to
is highly
Georgia
irregular.
Department of Natural Resources. The girl was swimming on the north end of the lake on private property when she was bitten in the leg. As she was being attacked, the girl's father intervened and beat the beaver to death.
Oh, my God.
Hey, I got beavers are bad motherfuckers. Let me tell you something. When I Elise in Mississippi, they built this dam on the creek, and where we crossed that, we tore it down right before dark. Next morning, that son bitch was built back
up.
and chewing down trees like 18 inches in circumference.
You don't want to get bit by one of those.
No, beavers are badass. I've actually killed a beaver, and I ate beaver. So anyway, the animal was taken to the state lab to be tested for rabies. The child's condition and identity have not been released. Lieutenant Judge Smith said it's unclear why the beaver attacked. There was nothing to indicate that there were baby beavers in the vicinity that were being protected, or that the beaver was sick, or whether it was just an otherwise angry beaver.
Nothing worse, by the way.
Beavers were once virtually eliminated in Georgia, but the state conducted a restoration program in the 40s, and beavers are now abundant across the state, and they are the second largest living rodent. And hey,
what's bigger than a beaver?
I don't know.
An anaconda.
We
forgot that was a member of the room.
Yeah, right. We have beavers on our properties to this day, and we grow trees, right? Shit, they just so destructive.
Yeah.
I actually have a stuffed beaver.
Hey, really?
Yeah, I got a stuffed beaver chilling on the stump in the cabin.
But wait, it's you can't just go around beating the shit out of beavers and killing them, right?
Well, if you're saving your daughter, you can. So no, I do not think the father should be charged. I think he should get on a medal.
You should get a medal.
I don't want to know. You're a bad dude. He might need to get a UFC fight. He beat a beaver to death.
How big was the beaver? I mean,
shit, but beavers are like 20,
big,
30
man.
pounds. I mean, it's not like you're beating a chihuahua to death. You're beating a beaver.
Look, I seen a video of a guy in Australia that had a kangaroo in a headlock and was beating up a kangaroo because the kangaroo had his dog in a headlock.
Really?
Kangaroos are mean, man. They look all cute.
And they're strong as hell.
Yeah, and they're the size of humans.
Yeah, that's true.
But a beaver's not. Well,
hey,
it depends where the fight took place. Is that on land?
The beaver
or
I have mounted is as big as this table.
And where'd you take him down?
In one of our ponds, because he was eating the fucking trees.
How'd you take him down?
With our bullet to the head as he was swimming.
So you won that fight. You won that fight.
Someone who was to me, and that was like 20 years ago. So if you possum cops are listening, you can't come get me for it. It was a nuisance animal. And I mean possum cops in the most affectionate term.
Well, but very good job staying within your species and within your geography, Woody. I want to congratulate you.
Why are you being so nice? Do you think you're on double secret probation?
This is just me being me. I'm normally...
because you're such a good guy.
My normal status is just being nice. You guys remember ever heard of the Chameleon Killer?
Mm-mm.
Doesn't ring a bell?
Nope.
Jim, no?
I've heard of Come a Chameleon by Boy George.
See the Duran guys?
That's a crime as well, but a different kind of crime.
The Duran guy's got stage 4 cancer. You saw it?
Simon Le Bon?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't see that.
Duran.
Okay.
Hungry like the wolf.
It's a rough segue to my story. Come back to me. Chameleon Killer. We're going to go back in time a little bit. The story is featured in this month's Vanity Fair magazine, and it's an amazing story. So we're going to go back. You can make fun.
Magazines?
Make fun of
you lost me at Vanity Fair.
Reading Vanity Fair ever.
Oh, don't worry. We will.
Okay. It's starting off rough, folks. So
you have a subscription?
Back when Woody was
Red Book.
Back when Woody was patrolling his neighborhood in a Schwinn, and Jim had yet to discover his anaconda. Let's go to San Antonio, Texas. A San Antonio mother of 2 was kidnapped from a Kmart parking lot by a man who raped and killed dozens. But instead of becoming his next victim, she became his friend. Margaret Mayfield Palm was abducted by the Chameleon Killer. Stephen Morin was his name, when she was 30 years old after being held at gunpoint during a chance Christmas shopping excursion. Warren was convicted of killing 3 women and accused of 2 other slayings, but had been investigated for more than 40 murders across the country that occurred between 1969 and 1981. The criminal, dubbed the Chameleon Killer or the forgotten serial killer by some, has been thrust back into the spotlight because of a recent Vanity Fair magazine article. In the article, Margaret Palm recounts how she befriended the man who'd ended the lives of dozens of others. As Palm left her home on December 11, 1981, she explained how God had spoken to her that day and compelled her to go back into the house and grab her book of scriptures. I put it in my car along with about 4 evangelistic magazines and about 10 evangelistic tapes that I had sitting in my car, she said. Palm had been doing volunteer work and decided on the way home to make a stop at Kmart. I went into the Kmart. I was there for about an hour, and I came out to my car, she said. As I was approaching the car, I felt a gun in my back. I turned around, and this man looked at me, and he was shaking. He was crying, actually, and he looked like a rabid dog, she said. I don't know how else to explain it. He looked satanic. And the first thing I thought was, I'm going to die today. Palm hadn't seen the news and wasn't aware of the gruesome slayings that the man who just put a gun to her back had left littered across the country. Morin had been on the FBI's 10 most wanted list and had eluded the Bureau for a decade with the use of fake identities and living sort of the life of a drifter. He had raped and brutally murdered women all over the country and was known for his intense hate for women. I knew none of this, Palm said in the article. Police had been scouring neighborhoods that day, telling women to get in their homes, according to Palm. Morin had abducted and killed a girl earlier and was boasting to Palm about how he'd once again evaded the police. Through tears, he explained to Palm that he'd been running all over town, had been taking buses all over the city, and had visited a church but didn't know what to do. He told Palm he'd been sitting in the Kmart lot for hours when he happened upon her. Palm revealed that as he spoke, she felt the Spirit of God growing within her. I said, "What's your name?" He said, "It's Stephen." Palm then proceeded to put her hands on Morin and pray for him despite his rebuttals. Quote, "I take authority over every demonic force in this man. You know that I serve the Lord Jesus Christ, and I declare right now you have no dominion over this man," she said, her hands placed on Morin. "Sin shall not have dominion over him. He has dominion over you, and I have dominion over you, and he will be serving Jesus Christ before this day ends." Palm said Morin looked over to her in disbelief and said, "I can't believe this. I'm in a car with a religious freak." At first, Morin thought Palm had been trying to con him, but she produced the book of scriptures she'd taken from home. Caught off guard, Morin later said he felt a love from Palm, untethered from his previous lust for violence and brutal rape. While his hands were raised up, he said, "Jesus, I'm sorry for everything I've ever done. Please forgive me. I want to go to heaven." I couldn't believe my eyes, Palm said. As they continued to drive, Palm explained Morin was desperate to find his escape route to Fort Worth, Texas. She helped him find the bus station and get a ticket for the next bus to Fort Worth. He had an hour to spare before his bus, so the pair went to McDonald's and shared a meal. By this time, we were friends, and we sat in that parking lot eating our hamburgers, she said. I told him that you cannot use these weapons anymore. You cannot use your guns or knives anymore because you've been fighting a spiritual demonic force. Morin released Palm in a bid to stay on the righteous path, and she waited until she was home with her husband Bart to reveal the location of the killer. When Palm arrived home, she had her husband call the FBI, and they explained where he was. Palm claimed the FBI thought they were crazy to think that a man who'd eluded them for a decade was just sitting at a bus station waiting for him. So she hung up on the FBI and she called Austin police. She claimed they surrounded the bus station where he was reading her book of handwritten scriptures before being taken into custody. In the article, she details the years after Morin's arrest leading up to his execution, where she became a lifeline for him, sending letters and Christmas cards, etc., one which described her as one of the greatest moms on earth. The pair would talk about his life, but their conversations were largely spiritual. The day before his execution, Palm visited Morin at the Ellis 1 unit on death row in Huntsville, Texas. He was happy, she said. He said, "I'm ready to die. I feel good. I'm going to be with the Lord." He was given the lethal injection in March 1985.
Wow.
But, I mean, this guy is traveling the country on a murder spree, and she was able to turn him in one day.
That's
and that's all the time we have today.
Just got to give you a hard time. That's actually a very powerful story. It was beautiful. I can't believe
It was
we
good.
need to make a movie.
I'm gonna
that.
let this build up, folks, and it's gonna end badly for Jim.
Hey, y'all, changing my wardrobe from summer to fall, it's never easy. Luckily, Quince offers timeless and high-quality items I adore, ensure my wardrobe stays fresh and I don't blow my budget. And there's nothing easier than going to Quince and choosing these high-quality items, like cashmere sweaters from $50, pants for every occasion, washable silk tops, and so much more. The best part? All Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. By partnering directly with top factories, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes, and I love that. I got the stainless steel Link Apple Watch band for $59.90. It's heavy duty, it's awesome, and it's like $100 less than I could find anywhere else. And I also got a 100% organic cotton fisherman quarter zip up sweater. The color is alabaster. Man, I can't wait to wear that this fall. And Cindy got the Mongolian cashmere boat neck sweater in heather gray. And I'm telling you, these are classic pieces at a fraction of the price. Make switching seasons a breeze with Quince's high-quality closet essentials. Go to quince.com/RLRC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/RLRC to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/RLRC. You'll thank me later. Hey, ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore, because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement, it's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC. Now we have to read our source like this.
On triple speed.
Not aware. Is there a time limit on podcasts?
All right. So actually,
hey, that was really a good story.
All joking aside, we're gonna bring it serious here. Yeah. As a matter of fact, this is gonna be the WTF segment for today. And I don't think anything has ever fit WTF like this right here. And that is a Georgia doctor has decapitated a baby during delivery. This, according to a lawsuit.
The whole world saw this.
This is absolutely insane. A doctor used too much force and decapitated a Georgia woman's baby during delivery. Attorneys for Jessica Ross and Travion Taylor spoke at a press conference and outlined the allegations against the Southern Regional Medical Center in the wrongful death suit. One of the attorneys, Corey Lynch, said Southern Regional Medical Center tried to hide what actually happened. The hospital did not report Trevon Taylor Jr.'s death to the Clayton County authorities. Rather, police learned after a funeral home contacted them. Ross and Taylor's families were reportedly informed about the decapitation from that funeral home. Ross's doctor, Tracy St. Julian, M.D., reportedly came clean only after Ross was discharged from the hospital. And, of course, the Clayton County Police are investigating. Now, The hospital told Taylor and Ross to have their child cremated, and if they wanted an autopsy, they'd have to pay for it themselves. Dr. Roderick Edmond, who was also representing Ross and Tyler, said Ross's water broke July 9th at approximately 10 p.m. She went into labor and delivery, where nurses hooked her up to an IV to help speed up the delivery. At that time, she was 37 weeks pregnant. About 10 hours later, at 8:40 p.m., she was fully dilated, and her doctors told her to start pushing. According to Edmond, Travion Jr.'s shoulder got stuck during the delivery. Edmond and Lynch said St. Julian used ridiculously excessive force when she pulled the baby's head and neck. And Edmond said the bones in Travion Jr.'s skull, neck, and face were broken in the process. Disgusting. St. Julian eventually performed a C-section on Ross, but according to Edmond, the feet came out, the body came out, and there was no head. The head was reportedly delivered vaginally. The attorneys claim St. Julian and nurses at the hospital were negligent for not contacting other doctors on the floor to assist and not advocating for Ross to get a C-section. Here's where it gets really crazy. In addition, Lynch said at a press conference that hospital staff would not let Ross or Tyler see or hold their newborn, and at one point, staff wrapped the child very tight so they could not see what happened. They actually propped the head up to make it appear the baby's head was attached. The couple was only allowed to see their son through glass. Just horrible. The statement that the hospital released, of course, they deny the allegations of wrongdoing and said that Travion Jr. died in utero prior to delivery and decapitation. That was their statement. I mean, if that ain't the craziest story you've ever heard, not only did they pull his head off, this baby's head off, but then they try to hide it by propping it up and wrapping the baby so tight that it appeared it was attached.
And then get it cremated.
Yes. And then they sent it to the funeral home like that, and the funeral home is the one who reported it.
Right.
They were like, wait a minute.
Well, that requires a conspiracy to cover it up. I mean, you have
there's no doubt about it.
You have what, 4 or 5 people in that delivery room?
At least 4, yeah.
They are.
What kind of I could almost understand something where you injure a shoulder or even a head and trying to get the baby out vaginally, but how you take it to the point of
ripping its head off.
I mean, that's not a doctor. I mean, I don't know what kind of
that won't be
history
a doctor
that doctor
now.
said. No, she's not going to be, and that hospital's not going to have any money after those people take it all. But
you shut the door.
Well, if anything makes you say WTF, that's
WTF.
it. I said that about 10 times.
And it's such a good story. I'll ignore that it was 21 seconds longer than mine.
It was not.
All right. WTF, y'all, for sure. All right, let's go to Florida. A 56-year-old caretaker and his 59-year-old girlfriend were arrested this week after police found a nonverbal man, here we go again, this is almost a WTF, living in squalor in the backyard of a house. The police department received a call from the Department of Children and Families after receiving a report about an intellectually disabled nonverbal 22-year-old behind the home. The victim was reportedly forced to sleep outside and sometimes stayed in a makeshift hut in the backyard. Japheth Garvey, the caretaker at Antoinette Monday, allegedly did not let the man inside the house to shower. The man reportedly had feces all over his body when police got there. Love, right? Garvey and Monday were arrested and charged with the neglect of a disabled adult. And the St. Petersburg Police Department said someone called an abuse hotline and reported the victim was forced to live outside. She said the 22-year-old man was in not very great condition and looked malnourished. A neighbor who reportedly knows the victim and provided him with food called the situation torture. The victim was kept in a shoddy wooden structure with a tarp-like covering serving as a roof and a wood plank as the door. And guess what, y'all? Guess where it was in Florida?
That's Pinellas County.
Absolutely.
St. Pete.
Pinellas County, Florida. And the Pinellas County jail records show both Garvey and Mundy are being held on $5,000 bond. I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. I bet you they were getting a check for them.
It had to be.
Yep. And just, their evil exists, people.
At 22, would you still be getting a check?
Yeah, if you're
disabled
adult, yeah.
He was nonverbal, so he couldn't work, most likely. And
They were getting his check and his food stamps. Shout out to Pinellas County. We have not covered any other county in the United States or parish more than we've covered Pinellas County.
That is probably true. But I also feel like we've not covered any state more than we've covered the state of Pennsylvania. And
It seems like
and that's where we're going next. But we're actually
yeah.
going to the part of the state that I carve out because I do like, which is in western Pennsylvania in the Pittsburgh area. Father and son Dennis and Kim Parada believe they found a burial site halfway up a mountain in western PA.
You got to stop. You have no idea what you're about to do to me. I am the biggest treasure hunting freak in the world. I've watched every treasure documentary.
The second
I have watched every documentary and then every gold show, every mining show, every kind of show in the world. I've read books on it. I've done everything.
Damn it! I wish I knew that. I would have given you the story.
No, go ahead.
Yeah,
I want to comment. I want to hear it.
Well, now I'm going to feel like an amateur because you're gonna pick apart
Don't
knowledge
bring
of the topic here. So
don't bring in your insecurities,
okay,
Mike.
well, my insecurities come everywhere with me. It's hard to separate from them. So it's a father and son, Dennis and Kim Parada, and they believe they found a burial site halfway up this mountain in western PA containing $500 million worth of Civil War gold from a shipment of government gold dating back to 1863. Parada was first alerted to the possible presence of the gold when reading an article in Treasure magazine in 1974. Do you read Treasure magazine?
Probably online.
Okay. The story
I don't
revealed
read Vanity either.
The story revealed, I know you do, that a Union caravan with gold bars was headed to the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and got ambushed in Elk County. In 2004, Parada found a cave in a place called Dent's Run. The cave was exposed after a period of heavy rains washed out dirt and plants on the side of the mountain. He says he has since visited the cave more than 400 times and has found bullet shells, whiskey bottles, and bones scattered nearby that all date back to the 19th century. The Paradas contacted the FBI back in 2018, and the FBI commissioned an independent study testing the area, and that study indicated the presence of the precious metal. This finding validated third-party testing the Paradas had done the year before that once again indicated the existence of a large amount of gold. The FBI brought more than 50 agents and dug 12 feet deep, but the dig was declared a bust, or so the FBI claimed.
Oh.
The agency claims the dig turned out to be a bust, but the Paradas believe the FBI carried on their excavation during the night before making off with the loot, depriving the hefty finder's fee that would have been due the Paradas. The treasure hunters sued the FBI last year in U.S. District Court in Washington and forced release of documents relating to the dig under a FOIA request. But they now allege that the FBI has withheld or doctored some of that information. In particular, they're seeking the release of operational records which they believe will show that the agency planned and held a night dig, that they have evidence of the night dig. Warren Gettler, who is the co-author of a book called Rebel Gold and a former Wall Street Journal reporter, began consulting the Paradas back in 2017. He claims the absence of timestamps in the FBI records goes directly to the question of a deliberate cover-up of nighttime activity. Town officials claim there were lights and agents working overnight that night. Others also reported seeing armored vehicles in town. But when the FBI turned over a trove of records from the dig, they were incomplete, the treasure hunters claim. So Gettler, the consultant they hired, claims the Nikon D700 camera used during the operation automatically includes digital time code readouts yet these stamps were absent from the photographs graphs released by the FBI. So the treasure hunters say the FBI is withholding communication it had with firms post the dig, and that there's information in there that would prove that they recovered the gold. They've also done testing afterward, and there's no longer the presence of the metal in the mountain. And so now you have he said, she said, and they're continuing to try and sue the government here.
Turn into another urban legend. And my personal thought on it is, I mean, certainly there's good and bad in every profession, but FBI, pretty much some of the most squared away dudes, they're not going to get 50 agents to collude.
Sounds like a lot.
Take it out, right? Doesn't it sound like a little far-fetched? It'll make a good documentary there.
But how do you explain the presence of them?
That's what they're saying, right? And
that's the people.
I mean, here's the deal: if they had the presence of gold there, AU, right, and they had it there, they would use LiDAR. They wouldn't have had to dig 12 freaking feet. They would have been able to tell the anomalies and whatever. But I'm very interested in the story, and I hadn't heard of it, so I'll look forward to seeing what's going to come out.
Boom.
Hey, you know who said today's the day? Today's the day.
Today's the day?
Do you know who said that?
It's going to be a gold rush guy.
No. It's Mel Fisher. Mel Fisher lived in California in way back in like the 60s, late 60s. He was scuba diving. Scuba diving first was coming around, and he went to Key West for something and found one doubloon on the beach. And then he moved his whole family over there, and half the time they were starving to death, but they went out every day, and they would find every day he'd get up and say, "Today's the day." And his son burned up on one of his boats, and his daughter-in-law, and then they had all kinds of deaths and all this shit, but every day. And a lot of times he didn't have the gas to get out there. He had to bum the gas to get out there. He found the Sonora Atocha, and then later on the other one, the largest treasure ship ever found. Then the fucking U.S. government came in and seized it all from him and said, you can't have it. He was going to give them like the half of it or whatever, and they seized it all and said, you can't have it. And he took them to court, and he lived in Key West for the rest of his life. He took them to court, and he got it all.
Oh, you talking about the boat?
Because it was
Yes.
foreign currency, wasn't it? It wasn't U.S. currency, right?
It was gold and gems
But from a foreign, because the only way the U.S. would have
Sonora Atocha. It was a Spanish galleon that went down in a hurricane. Actually, there was 3 of them, and they found that. So for $10,000 a year, you can go down there and dive with them for a week, and whatever you find, you get to keep.
You get to keep.
I'm going to do an unsanctioned trivia question for y'all. No cheating, Mike.
Lay it out.
What would you say is, and listeners, let's play along at home. What would you say is your favorite movie based off of college football? Like big screen movie. If you had to pick one.
Mine would be the one where the quarterback, what was the name of it? Well,
I'll go
you're probably going with the Michael Oher story, but mine would have been the one
that would have been Blindside. Would be the Michael Oher one.
Mine
Would you say that was your favorite?
No, I said Rudy.
Rudy's yours.
Rudy
Yeah,
was
that's a good one.
Rudy was given, but I like the fake one. The quarterback was supposed to be up for the Heisman and ended up having a drinking problem and came back and. Yeah.
The other dude was shooting up steroids. I can't remember the name of that one.
It was the player or something.
I don't know what movie that is.
I'll look it up and let y'all know next time.
Well, if you said The Blind Side, then which would be my second favorite. Rudy is probably really also my favorite. You would be in for a ruining of your favorite movie with what I'm about to tell you, because former NFL player Michael Oher, who was the inspiration of that 2009 Academy Award winning film The Blind Side, has filed a petition in a Tennessee court on Monday that he was never legally adopted by the family portrayed in the film.
Sandra Bullock.
Rather, he was tricked into a conservatorship that solely benefited the Toohey family. The filing reveals that Oher discovered he was never legally adopted by Sean and Leanne Toohey in February of 2023 and alleged he was tricked into entering that conservatorship after his 18th birthday. Michael Oher discovered this lie in February of 2023 when he learned that the conservatorship to which he consented on would make him a member of the Toohey family. At least that was his belief. In fact, provided him no familiar relationship with the Tooheys at all. The filing said that soon after moving in, the family presented Oher with the conservatorship, which he understood as legal adoption. The petition also said while the Tooheys benefited significantly from the movie The Blind Side, Oher did not. The family negotiated a deal that paid them each, including the Tooheys' 2 birth children, a significant amount plus a percentage in royalties for the film, which incidentally grossed $330 million. The filing also alleges that another contract purportedly signed by Oher in 2007 signed away his rights to the story without any payment whatsoever. His attorney told ESPN that his client was devastated when he discovered the true nature of the conservatorship. Mike didn't grow up in a stable family, and when the Toohey family told Mike they loved him and wanted to adopt him, it filled a void with him that he had had his entire life. Discovering he wasn't actually adopted devastated Mike and wounded him deeply. Oher was drafted in the first round of the 2009 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Ravens, played 5 seasons, won 1 Super Bowl before signing with the Tennessee Titans, and after a brief stint, he then signed with the Carolina Panthers, but was eventually released in 2017. So, guys, what does this mean to that? I mean, that movie
I would
all of a sudden loses all significance.
I would say suspend all judgment here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty familiar with this family, and it's a very good family, and I think there's a lot more to this story. I think that there's other stuff going on in maybe his life that led to this, but I would suspend judgment until more information comes out.
We'll stay on top of it. It's a very compelling story, but I just read some stuff at 4:00 this morning when the family came back out and answered, and stuff like that.
Well, we just report what comes out. This is what's come out.
It's come out, and it's going to be interesting to see. And if he doesn't have some ambulance chasing attorney trying to do whatever, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe this family has adopted some other kids since or something to help more. We'll look it up.
They're a prominent Newman family in New Orleans. They've the philanthropy, the family's involved. I mean, it's just it doesn't pass the smell test. I think there's some misunderstanding or something here, and that we should
figure it out.
Just see what comes out.
But hey, you know what? It could go the other way too. But yeah, interesting story there, Jimmy. Everybody likes Blind Side.
The Blind Side.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glaze, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts to spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdown scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids, to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Right? Left tackle.
Now, Jim, what's our organization we talk about at the end of every show?
It is ourrescue.org.
Check this out.
Which is Operation Underground Railroad.
Police are lauding a motel worker as a local hero after his quick thinking led to the rescue of 2 girls who were allegedly being sex trafficked in Palm Beach, Florida. Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office said Ricardo Flores and Maria Calero were both arrested and charged in connection with the incident, which unfolded at the Lago Motor Inn Motel in Lake Worth Beach, Florida. I'm sure that's a 5-star place, right, Mike? You own that place, Mike?
No.
All right. Motel owner Richard Barron called police after he witnessed a suspicious argument between guests. Roughly a half hour after Flores checked into the motel, Barron reportedly knocked on his door after hearing about an argument taking place inside the room. Flores opened the door, and then I see 2 young women, girls, sitting in the middle of the bed, Barron said. And Calero says to me, he has to pay. He didn't pay. I don't know what happened between them. Barron allegedly noticed a condom on the bed next to Flores and the 2 young girls and soon called police. Police arrived as Calero allegedly tried to leave the motel, with the 2 young girls still complaining that Flores didn't pay her. The swift intervention of the hotel clerk, who noticed the young victims and alerted authorities, played a pivotal role in their rescue, the sheriff's office said, and then they call on social media, they're calling Barron a local hero. And the sheriff's office said that the detective's initial investigation of the scene shows Calero had allegedly tried to coordinate a date between Flores and 2 young girls, and both Flores and Calero were taken into custody at the scene. Calero was charged with 3 counts of human trafficking of a minor with a $750,000 bond, while Flores was charged with 2 counts of human trafficking of a minor with a $500,000 bond. And we applaud this courageous act and remain committed to safeguarding our community against exploitation, the sheriff's office said. And
wow. Hero.
That's
Railroad,
great. That's
Underground
great.
Railroad, right? See something, say something, y'all.
Yeah, that's a
happening
hero.
everywhere.
And look, rrescue.org. Check them out.
Right?
Check them out. Get in the fight.
Yes, indeed.
Let's go back to Southern California,
Cali.
the land of the smash and grab.
Oh, yeah.
So last week, I think it was Woody, did a story about the 9 coordinated looters at the Gucci store.
Gucci.
That was in Century City, Beverly Hills.
Gucci.
There was also another major smash and grab at a really nice shopping center
Duran.
in Glendale, California on Tuesday. And then over the weekend, 50 different looters took place in the ransacking of a Nordstrom and particular boutique within Nordstrom, that in a place that's called another Westfield shopping center, but it's called the Westfield Topanga, but it really services the Calabasas area where the Kardashians have probably shopped in that boutique.
I'm probably interrupting your story.
Yeah,
you probably are. But
we don't want to
say. I saw something. Some rapper came out and said, "Just shut it all down, lock all the doors." You see that?
No,
I read over that this morning. I know he's famous because I've seen him.
The solution was to just lock all the doors.
And this rapper coming out, he's like, "Damn it, just lock everything up."
Well, I think doors are going to get locked up, but for the wrong reasons, because these people, the insurer's going to pay once on this kind of stuff,
and
then
they won't be able to get insurance.
And it's look, we've seen what happened on a smaller scale,
like in Walgreens, everything.
Exactly, in all these companies that moved out of San Francisco. Now you've got, this stuff is happening in the nicest parts of Los Angeles County. These 3 areas that got hit in the same week are, that is.
If I was going to rob, I'd rob the nicest place.
These are places where the beautiful people shop, right? Yeah. So this is not
your first use of lookism today.
No, what I'm saying
I know
is
what you're saying.
It's.
I know what you're saying. It's like the Rodeo Drive.
Elitists who turn their head and don't give a shit when it's going on in other places. It's happening in their backyard now, and they're noticing, and they're not happy. And we got a new mayor out there who replaced Mayor Yoga Pants.
Did you see LaToya's husband died, and the causes are undetermined yet? Is it LaToya? Mayor New Orleans?
Yeah. No, but I didn't see that.
Yeah, her husband died. And there's not.
Okay, I think there's a coordinated effort today to interrupt my stories as many times as possible.
My head.
This is part of the F with Mike thing. Videos all over the place online. You can look at it. 50 pretty much all dressed the same, black head to toe, face masks. There's they've identified some cars here, just like they identified some cars in Century City the other day, but no arrests have been made. And let's see if this continues to happen. But you now have people really screaming for some kind of change in the city. The DA there, Gascon, has really watched his popularity wane as things have gotten more and more out of control. And at this point, and it's amazing to see, because you look at San Francisco, you look at LA, but you go down to Orange County, and why isn't it happening there? San Diego, why isn't it happening there? It's
all the Marines.
It's really based upon the DA.
Shout out to Mulder Star and living. I think the dude's name is 50 Cent Piece.
Oh, you're 50 back.
Cent Piece.
The rapper.
You're back to who said to just shut the doors. Well, if Fiddy may have a point.
Fiddy says,
on that.
I told you L.A. was finished after viral flash mob smash and grab at Nordstrom, and he said, "Lock it up."
Yeah. Well, let's hope the city's got more fight in it than that, and let's hope that this mayor will actually live up to the things that she said following these incidents. And let's see, because if LA loses these areas, man, I just the flight out of there, because people are leaving in droves, and if those areas aren't safe. You're going to have a huge part of your tax base leave that city.
I need you to get back to me on LaToya and her husband.
We'll get back to her.
That's your people. That's your people's story. Hey, there might be a story of what if she killed him. I'm not saying she did. I'm just saying what if.
All right, got a great story that Woody, you're going to enjoy. You're going to find absolutely intriguing because when I look for stories, I want to know what Woody Overton's going to like.
What?
That's my first question. Will Woody like this story? And you will. A Florida woman has been arrested, and let me tell you what happened. A blood-smudged Florida woman suspected of murder accrued additional charges after she asked police for a soda and then poured it all over herself in an attempt to scrub forensic evidence from her body. Nice. This from the Daytona Beach police. Nicole Max was charged with tampering with evidence and resisting arrest and premeditated first-degree murder in the death of a 79-year-old, Michael Oher. Firefighters were called to a smoldering home for reports of a house fire discovered clothes on the second floor that were set on fire. After quickly extinguishing the flames, first responders found Oher laying face down on a blood-spattered floor. He had suffered blunt force trauma to the head and stab wounds to the torso. The dead man's landlord told police that Max was his other tenant, but the woman was nowhere to be found. 2 cell phones were recovered near the 79-year-old's corpse. One belonged to the victim, while the other, which had a bloody knife balanced on top of it, belonged to Max.
Love.
Less than 2 hours later, police said they spotted a barefoot Max with blood on her leg, a ripped shirt, and she was outside of a Crystal Burger. When they approached, police said she dropped a knife and a hammer at their feet. Max evaded questions about her recent whereabouts of where she lived, first pointing in a direction saying she lived right over there by a nearby pawn shop, and then claiming she had been living on the streets the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. She denied knowing Oher, and when the detectives showed her photographs, she continued to deny it. When pressed, police said she conceded that she knew the man, but denied seeing him on the day he was murdered. Then she shifted again, telling police she currently lived with Oher and was at their home earlier that day. You'll hear Woody say all the time, the truth is the one thing that never changes. Daytona police then took her into custody for questioning, and after she was read her Miranda rights, Max told detectives she never entered his bedroom and only set foot on the second floor, shared apartment to feed her spiders. When asked about yes, that's right. She had to feed her spiders. When asked about weapons she had dropped, Max became agitated and demanded a lawyer. Police returned later with a warrant to test the woman's bloody body for DNA evidence. Mm-hmm. Max then asked for a can of Diet Mountain Dew soda, and police obliged her. She began to procrastinate with the drink, and detectives tried to pull the can away from her. Then Max began to resist and poured the can of soda all over her body and hair, pulling away from officers in attempts to interfere with the possible evidence on her body. Police then forced a pulling and kicking Max into the cruiser. Blood on the knife near the body matched samples taken from Max's clothing. The DNA recovered also matched her, as well as DNA on the weapon handle, and Max is being held in jail. So why did she douse herself in Diet Mountain Dew? Well, she must have seen a study from NC State University, which indicates that sucralose, a common artificial sweetener also known as Splenda, and found in Diet Mountain Dew and other sodas, can break down the genetic material that makes up DNA. While researchers found that the sweetener could put people at risk for disease and wear down the lining of the intestines, it's unclear whether dousing oneself in soda would actually eliminate forensic evidence. So never think that someone, just because they feed spiders, is not smart enough to know how to alleviate DNA evidence.
Right. And remember the movie show where what was the movie? Oh, Jerry Maguire. And she said, "You had me at hello." They had her as soon as she dropped that hammer and shit when the cops rolled up on her. Right? She could do all this shit she wants to. They had her when she left her cell phone with a knife on it in the murder scene. And they had her the first time she changed the story.
I couldn't imagine their look, though, when she's drinking Diet Mountain Dew and all of a sudden she's taking a bath in it.
And I can't believe somebody would have a video of that. That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see that one.
TikTok famous.
Feed your spiders.
Sounds like that stuff would be good for you to drink on a regular basis, though.
Two things I don't really like. I don't really mind snakes so much, but I don't really like them. But the spider, I'm getting the fuck out. And if you raising spiders, you can't come near Woody. But let's guess what? It's time for
Kinky
Crimes.
Yes.
On Wednesday.
My favorite segment.
Kinky Crimes. And boys, you're not going to believe this. We're going back to Pinellas County.
Again?
Wow.
2 times in one show, right?
Somebody's got some cookies on their computer.
Here we go, right?
Pinellas.
So a Florida woman claimed a crack pipe found protruding from her vagina during a strip search was actually a sex toy. Well, I call them glass dicks.
You gotta tell me this story.
And I stopped I used to stop and I said, "Where's your glass dick at?" And they were, whatever. So just the crackheads that they weren't gonna have crack on them. But anyway, Carmilla Ann Maines, 57, was taken into custody after she failed to show up to court to face shoplifting charges. But while Maines was being processed at the Pinellas County Jail, a body scan revealed an anomaly in her genital area. When officials conducted a strip search of the suspect, they found that a glass crack pipe was protruding from the defendant's vagina. Maine was hungry, I guess. Maine then allegedly removed the contraband from her cavity and intentionally threw it on the ground and stepped on it in an effort to destroy the evidence. She then tried to explain that the object was actually a sex toy, despite
That's better.
right. Despite the
Crack
fact
pipe
that it
or
was consistent with a pipe commonly used to smoke crack cocaine and covered with burnt markings. Right. Maines was charged with possessing contraband in a county detention facility and tampering with evidence in connection with the incident, and her ass is locked up on bottom.
How about that? Claiming
I think she
sex
should have
toys.
stuck with that story because, whatever makes you feel good. I mean, it could have been that thing turned her on.
If you want to be a dick, and sometimes I had to be because the people were dicks to me, and when they gave me their glass dicks, you could actually send that in to the lab and they could test the burnt marks on it for cocaine, and it comes back and you still be charged with possession of cocaine. The law doesn't say no matter how small the amount. And that's Kinky Crimes from Pinellas County for Wednesday.
Very good. I like that.
Another good one, y'all. Oh, banjo time.
And fiddles.
You're right. Get down.
I like that.
And they play a lot of banjo and fiddle music at Hooters these days. I don't know if you guys have been in there lately. Yeah, big for that kind of music.
One thing that's consistent about Hooters is ice cold beer. I've been to every one in the United States of America, and the only bad one I ever went was in downtown D.C. by Chinatown. It sucked really bad.
Really?
Okay, well,
it's horrible.
We're gonna tell a little story about Hooters, but first, either of you guys have a favorite dipping sauce at Hooters?
Blue cheese.
Blue cheese.
Yeah, I like that too.
Gotta have the blue cheese. And for the record, I never went to Hooters, but one time before my wife, and I don't know.
Wait. You just said you've been to every Hooters in the United States.
I have, but listen.
Since you met your wife?
Listen, yes, absolutely. and when the girls would come to the table, my wife said, I didn't really realize I was doing it. Every time they come to the table, I'd look away, and she was like, finally, she was like, we can go and have the drinks, and shit, it's good drinks, good food. And she said, why are you always looking away? I guess I didn't even realize I was doing it. So it wasn't a restaurant for me. It was about cold beer and good wings.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Boom, Jim. Can we cut that out? That's not good for Woody's image, that whole turning away at Hooters thing.
Well, I don't turn away now.
Okay.
My father-in-law, my wife's daddy told me, if they're going to show them, I'm going to look at them.
Okay. So you're both big blue cheese fans. Well, I bet you haven't tried the sauce I'm about to tell you about. We're going to go to Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. That's where, until recently, Jessica Sinclair, 24 years old, worked as a waitress at Hooters. If you ate at one of Jessica's tables, let's just say you best be on your best behavior.
Okay.
Because if you're not, you are going to get served some of Jessica's secret sauce.
Oh, no.
That's
I
right.
saw this story.
That's right.
I did not see it.
That's right. If Jessica
skipped it
didn't like
intentionally.
your brand of humor, that's the first time you skipped anything with a naked body part involved. Jim. That's right. If Jessica didn't like your
That's a
brand
big
of humor, or you had something to say about her not so speedy service, or if you made some wisecrack about her body parts or how she looked in her Hooters garb, you were fixing to get your own serving of her special sauce. The special recipe was 1 part chicken wing, 1 part Hooters sauce, and 1 part Jessica's special vajayjay sauce. That's right. Before your piece of fried fowl made the trip to your mouth, it picked up something foul during a trip through Jessica's tunnel of love. Fortunately for Hooters loyalists in Houston, Jessica Sinclair was taken into police custody after she was witnessed by coworkers dipping hot wings into her vagina before serving them.
What's her vagina made of? It didn't get burnt.
I think I'll ask for my sauce on the side
you know what?
next time I roll through Hooters.
I probably haven't been to every one of them. Yeah, well, that is disturbing.
That's great.
Sauce on the side.
That's like that dude teabagging the cars when he was breaking the neighborhood last week. That's definitely dumb.
That's only getting a half volume.
That's a really good one there.
All right.
You can now take off that belt and move freely around the cabin.
It is a Mile High Crime Wednesday, and Woody's going to like this one especially. A Texas woman who said she was forced to remove a nipple ring with pliers in order to board an airplane is calling for an apology by federal security agents
for a lawsuit
and a civil rights investigation. I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, Mandy Hamilton said at a news conference. My experience with TSA was the worst nightmare I've ever had to endure. Nobody deserves to be treated this way. Now, Hamlin, who is 37, said she was trying to board a flight from Lubbock to Dallas when she was scanned by a TSA agent after passing through a large metal detector without problems. The female TSA agent used a handheld detector that beeped when it passed in front of her chest.
One of the Garretts.
That's it. Hamlin said she told the woman she was wearing nipple piercings. Hey, now. The agent then called over her male colleagues who said she would have to remove the jewelry. Of course they did. Man, you're going to have to take that out. Hamlin said she could not remove them and asked whether she could instead display her pierced breast in private to the female agent. But several other male officers told her she could not board until the jewelry was out. Of course, it's the males doing that. Right. I don't know. You got to take that out right here.
You lost your job, TSA.
She was taken behind a curtain, managed to remove one bar-shaped piercing, but had trouble with the second, which was a ring. Crying, she informed the TSA agent she could not remove it without the help of pliers, and an officer gave a pair to help her. So she said she heard male TSA agent snickering as she took out the ring. She was scanned again and was allowed to board, even though she was still wearing a belly button ring. Now, after nipple rings are inserted, the skin can often heal around the piercing, and the rings can be especially difficult and painful to remove. TSA officials said they are investigating to see if policies were followed. Our security officers are well trained to screen individuals with body piercing in sensitive areas with dignity and respect and ensure a high level of security, the agency said. Hamlin, in her response, said that her piercings have never set off an airport metal detector in the past.
Mike, does it hurt when you take yours out?
It does. It does.
I think his are clamps, though. Aren't they just
no, I have one
like battery clamps? Where is it?
You can now.
So that was your Mile High.
That was a good one.
And move
That was
freely
one
around
of
the
the best
cabin.
ones
For Wednesday. All right. Any final thoughts? We've come to the end of the road, as boys to men would say.
No, and they all good and in
rrescue.org.
rrescue.org.
One more time, we'll mention them. And if you want to get involved in the fight to end human trafficking, go to rrescue.org and it'll give you all the information you need.
Michael, we being too hard on you?
I'll be all right.
Michael,
He's
quiet over here.
hurt over there.
God dang, Michael.
You know, we just
we just teasing you.
Thoughts and prayers to the folks in Maui.
Yes, absolutely. Very
straight
true.
Yeah, and we ended on that.
And you know, that's
I can't believe I was just walking on that street road. I was drinking all those little bars, and they ate that world's most expensive restaurant.
Dragon line.
I mean, just
my neighbor literally just got back a week ago.
What?
Or 2 weeks ago.
Dr. Miranda from Hormone Replacement was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it happened.
Well, they're on an island.
Flourish. Yeah.
And I mean, you can't think about it. You get these wildfires, you can't just run.
There ain't a lot of trees on the island.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's on a volcano to begin with.
Yeah.
But I mean, when the winds are that strong, I mean, it's
So our hearts and prayers
praying
out
for y'all people
to all the people in Maui affected by this tragedy. And until next time, I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Woody Overton.
And I'm Mike Agovino.
For Real Life, Real Crime Daily, peace.
Kristen Sapienza.
There you go.
It's Ryan Seacrest here. People always say it's good to unwind, but that's easier said than done. The exception, Chumba Casino. They actually make it easier done than said, or at least the same. Chumba Casino is an online social casino with hundreds of casino-style games like slots and blackjack. Play for fun. Play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Sign up now and collect your free welcome bonus at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.